Testing. We'll call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to report on Chelsea Hoffman now. Suspected troll of Bob Enyart.
Hello, you have reached the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This line is being recorded. Para información en español, aprieta 5 ahora. If you are calling to report your child missing or the sighting of a missing child, press 1 now. If you are calling to report child pornography, online enticement of children for sexual acts, child prostitution, or child sex tourism, press 2 now. If you are calling to request publications, press 3 now. If you are calling for any other reason, press 4 now. This is Kira. How may I help you?
Yes, hi Kira. My name is Danielle Keikoa, and I'm calling to do a follow-up report. I called a couple weeks ago to report a group of individuals that are believed to organize the abduction of children, and I'd like to have the investigators look at another individual who's claiming to be a criminal analyst and an expert on crime, but she's organizing the abduction of children.
Okay, and what's the first and last name that you left with the report?
Well, this is my name is Danielle Keikoa.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, can you spell the last name?
Sure, it's Kekoa.
Okay. And you said you left a report with us already?
I did report about a couple individuals, a convicted child abuser who's under investigation for murder right now. His name is Robert Adolph Enyart. And I believe, and I'm almost confident, that he is running an identity under the name of Chelsea Hoffman, where he's claiming to be a criminal expert of sorts, documenting missing cases.
Hold for 1 moment,
Okay.
please. Okay, do you know when you left the report?
I believe it was a couple weeks ago. It was before Dylan Redwine's body was discovered, and these people are behind Dylan Redwine, in addition to many other missing children.
Okay, hold for 1 moment.
I believe it was June 11th.
Okay.
Let me see, I'm looking. Yeah, it was June 11th. I documented it.
Okay, hold for 1 moment.
Okay.
additional information that you have?
Okay, the additional information is that it's just been brought to my attention that a woman named Chelsea Hoffman works with these individuals, and she's promoting the same type of disinfo pages that are trying to frame Mark Redwine for the crime of Dylan and other pages. And she has several pages where she documents this stuff, but more specifically a blog, a case-to-case blog that's just simply chelseahoffman.com. And she documents dozens and dozens of missing children's cases and claims to be the source of information for help, expert opinion. She charges a fee, but she has no credentials, absolutely none. She's self-proclaimed, and she's been under suspicion for a while.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you hold for just 1 second, please?
Sure.
The child listed as recovered now.
Right.
But do you have any?
Are you referring to Dylan Redwine?
Correct.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get investigators to look into the background and history of Chelsea Hoffman, because this is what I believe is going on, and I've been right on. I've been studying this individual for 18 months. He tried to kidnap my children and was unsuccessful. I believe Chelsea Hoffman is Bob Enyart or one of his associates. I believe that he is pretending to be an expert on crime while he's documenting the crimes that he's committing. They're organizing these missing children. They abduct them, and then they organize the search and rescue and the charity events to mislead the investigation. Now, Kimberly K. Bowman's been on the news for Jessica Ridgway and Dylan Redwine alone, and both those kids showed up dismembered. Now, they document line by line missing children. I think it'd be worth the investigators' time to prevent future abductions by looking at the source of who's organizing them. And Chelsea Hoffman is suspicious, at the very least. She called me mentally ill and said I was a conspiracy nutcase when I sought out her expert opinion on Kimberly K. Bowman and the convicted child abuser she conspired with, Bob Enyart. And so this individual is writing snuff novels, if you will, and selling them on Amazon, and we believe talking about crimes that are being perpetrated across the country. And so I don't know if there's a department that I can speak with, if you have connections with the FBI, because these people should be under surveillance right now. For whatever reason, the FBI has not moved in on it. Meanwhile, dead bodies are showing up everywhere.
Okay, let me actually transfer you to someone who can help you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Coordinator for the Family Advocacy Division. Please leave your name and number, and I will call you back. Thank you. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hello, my name is Danielle Keikoa, and I was just transferred here from your hotline. I have some critical information regarding an individual who I believe is organizing a series of abductions across the country and advertising as a criminal expert of sorts. The person's name is Chelsea Hoffman, and she's well known online as a criminal analyst and a criminal profiler who writes snuff fiction and nonfiction of violent horror flick, if you will. And she is under suspicion now. We believe she is Bob Enyart, or one of his associates, who is a criminal who's under investigation for the murder of JonBenet Ramsey right now. And they have organized Dylan Redwine's abduction and Jessica Ridgway's, and they're trying to gather information and mislead the investigations by organizing the websites that they have. And one specifically is chelseahoffman.com, where she documents dozens and dozens of missing children and volunteers her time for the search and rescue, if you will. So I would like to take the time to talk with an investigator. We have dozens of court documents and thousands of snapshots and a long criminal history that link Bob Enyart and Kimberly K. Bowman to this Chelsea Hoffman person now. We don't even believe this Chelsea Hoffman's a real individual. However, she's presenting herself as an expert with no credentials to offer in these investigations. And so if you can call me back at 720-443-3264. Again, my name is Danielle Keikoa. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
From?
Hello, this is Danielle.
Hi, Danielle. This is Marcia Tellis with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children returning your call.
Hi, Marcia. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for returning my call.
Sure. How can I help you?
Okay, I'm really interested in just getting this into the hands of somebody who can do a thorough investigation on people that we know for a fact are organizing the abduction of children. And we've been reporting them for over a year now, and for whatever reason, the police have not moved in. Meanwhile, people continue to show up abducted and murdered, and bodies are showing up all over town. I live here in Colorado, and that's where the bulk of the crime is occurring right now.
And what's law enforcement said about it?
Well, they've taken my reports. I've turned it into 10 different jurisdictions. Bob Enyart, we discovered last September, we discovered that he murdered JonBenet Ramsey and tried to frame the Ramseys for the crime. And at that point...
Okay, now, when you say we, are you with an organization?
No, my husband and I, I have 6 children, and we attended Enyart's church. And at the time, we thought it was a pro-life church. And during that time, we discovered there are a lot of improprieties in the church. And at that point, he launched a campaign to take my 6 children from us by organizing a conspiracy to make false reports to social services, to have them taken. When that didn't work, they worked all over the social media outlets trying to incite violence towards my family. And during this process, we did our own investigation by purchasing court documents and going over decades worth of history to discover that these people are serial killers who have a highly sophisticated, organized underground network of childhood exploitation, pornography, abductions, dismemberment, rape, you name it.
Okay, now you know that we're not law enforcement, right?
Well, I do know that. That's why I'm just trying to let you know if you can pass it along to somebody, because it doesn't do a whole lot of good to search for missing children if you can actually prevent it from starting. And we know that these people are involved, and they often target families that are dysfunctional, going through a divorce, have alcohol or drug problems, domestic violence problems, and so it makes it look really easy. And so we're just trying to talk with somebody who can do something, because right now there's a gag order on most all of this, and dead bodies are still showing up everywhere.
Oh my goodness! I wish that there was something that we could do. I mean, because we don't have, the only thing that we can do is what you've already done.
Okay. Well, perhaps
that's just kind of call, law enforcement, just say and report what you have reported what you have reported. Do you have documentation? Have you provided them with documents and
Yes.
Reports and things of that nature?
Yes, we have. We have documented decades worth of criminal court documents. We have thousands of snapshots, like I've said, because it's a fact that they organized Dylan Redwine's abduction, and they're trying to frame Mark Redwine for the crime. And so perhaps if it was coming from you, being some kind of authority for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, you maybe as a mandatory reporter, you can just file a report with the FBI, because I don't know for the life of me why these individuals haven't at least been questioned. And they're all over the media exploiting these children. It's a highly sophisticated racket that they have, and they have hundreds of fake identities that claim to be experts in the law, claims to be experts in the crime investigative department, and they're not. They're frauds. And they claim to be Christian pro-lifers, which is the worst part.
Okay, now you realize now that probably, one of the first questions that law enforcement, would say is, would say, and maybe that's why you haven't gotten anything going on, is like, what are your credentials for this to be able to make these kinds of allegations?
Well, I have 10 years on the inside, and I'm a whistleblower. I have 10 years of inside information with these individuals, and they personally tried to take my 6 children. So that's my motivation, because I don't appreciate my children being threatened. And then because they failed with us, they targeted more vulnerable families like Jessica Ridgway and Dylan Redwine, because the parents were going through custody battles and they weren't paying attention. Okay. And then they started pointing fingers at themselves. And so I don't have a background in criminology, if you will, but I do have 10 years worth and 18 months straight online of documenting every single move these people have made, and documenting a post-murder behavior, a criminal pattern that is distinct with all these fake individuals that are running this racket. And so
now I can tell you, you got to have more than that. You got to have more than that. They just can't take your word on that, because it sounds like, because of what happened with with Child Protective Services being involved with your family, that maybe this is retaliatory behavior.
Right, and that's what we've been accused of in the past. And for the record, social services determined that everything was unfounded. And so this is much more than this is much more than revenge. These people are murderers. And I'm screaming bloody murder, and all we see is bloody murder going on everywhere. And now if you need a law degree, I don't understand why Chelsea Hoffman, who has 0 credentials, how she's able to run a dozen websites, publish crime documentaries, books, and host dozens and dozens of missing children's pages on Facebook and others to gain the information. She has 0 credentials, yet she is talking with she's able to insert herself in all these missing children. That's not suspicious in the slightest.
Well, I don't know. I definitely don't know who she is. I don't know very much about her. I don't know if she has a nonprofit organization that does this kind of work. So I can't really address that. But I know we do work with law enforcement. I know it's going to be really, really important for them to have. You can't violate people's rights.
Well, actually, you can. Let me tell you real quick, because they were able to get a court order to take all 6 of my children from me based off of lies. Okay, and they've come multiple times. Yes.
Now, who were the people that did it? The people in the church?
Yes, the people in the church. Bob Enyart, the same people who organized Dylan Redwine and Jessica Ridgway and JonBenet. The same people. The same people who tried to take my kids and frame us for murdering them have done that to other families. Now, is it worth the investigators to talk to me? I'm just some housewife with 6 kids. I may not know anything, but I might know something. Isn't it worth it?
Well, yeah, but I guess the fact, the only thing that we could do is tell them the same thing you've told me.
Well, please do. I think that would be great. I think, yeah.
That would be the only thing we can, we can do, because since we're not law enforcement, but we don't have anything in writing, we don't have anything to even present to them.
If you give me an email, I can send you the same 43-page timeline that outlines decade after decade of criminal behavior with some of these individuals. I can give you my personal websites where I've documented all this stuff and made it readily available for people. Put it to you this way: if I were lying, why won't they sue me? For 18 months, I've been calling them murderers practically, and they have said zip. He has a radio show here in Denver. He has a church here in Denver. He won't even address these accusations against him, and I keep contacting him personally. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now that should say something.
It sounds like he's ignoring you. I think that's probably what he's doing, is ignoring you.
If somebody made a page called MarshaMurderedJonBenéRamsey.com, would you continue to ignore it, or would you try to get that person to be quiet? Now I have a website.
I think, well, everybody kind of responds differently, but it sounds like the way he's reacting is just by ignoring it.
It sounds like he's a guilty criminal. Now, Marsha, you can mark my words. This will come out, and I'm sorry to say, I really hope that you can just take this information and pass it along to your investigators, but this is more than a revenge thing. This is a highly sophisticated network of criminals who rape and murder and dismember children and are getting away with it. And because a little housewife can't be taken seriously, they're going to continue to victimize people.
No, I don't think that the fact that you're a housewife, that certainly if you have information to present, they're not going to ignore that.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. What is your husband saying about this at this point?
Well, my husband and I are a team. We work together on all of this, and he's extremely frustrated with law enforcement, too. Of course, we get death threats for this. Now, Marsha, he's not ignoring me. He talks to me every day virtually through a troll identity. He has multiple fake identities, so he's not ignoring me at all. He's very interested in this case. I mean, he's a convicted child abuser on record, and he's a pastor, if that's alarming at all. Okay. But
so he has been brought up on charges of child exploitation.
He went to jail for beating a cop's son in Jefferson County in 1999, and that was only one time. He had a restraining order put against him just 2 months before JonBenet Ramsey was murdered because he was leaving black and blue welts on his 2 sons. Okay, now this man has a long criminal history, and we have facts beyond belief. Okay, I'm not just mouthing off. I put thousands and thousands of hours into investigating here because I have a personal interest in protecting children from being exploited, if you know what I mean.
Well, we'll be happy to definitely pass this on to your local law enforcement, because that's what we ethically must do.
Yeah, thank you. I would appreciate that, and I can give you a couple websites that have all the information you can.
Give those to me.
Okay, one of them is just called Generation, the letter X, POSE.com, GenerationExpose.com, and then. And it's very detailed. There's lots of information on there, so it's just a matter of clicking on links. Same with Bob Enyart murdered JonBenéRamsey.com, and that's BOBENYART. And
law enforcement, do they even talk? Does law enforcement still talk to you?
They do not, because it's an open investigation, and so they can't comment, is what I've been told. And so they're very well aware of this. It's not like it's being ignored or swept under the rug. It's just so high profile that see, what he's doing is he's organized every day. A body is showing up here in Denver, in a creek, on a mountainside. There's murder suicides off the chart. There's all kinds of unexplained, bizarre deaths going on here. Arson, Black Forest was just up in fire. We had 20 fires burning, here recently. There's homes are burning up. And so what he's doing, and he's clouding out the system, so there's an overload of crime to where they can't actually focus on one thing at a time. And so,
all right. Well, we will definitely get this information to them.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and forgive me for being a little bit agitated, but we have been screaming bloody murder for 18 months, and this is extremely serious, and I do get offended when it's labeled as a revenge type of thing, because I am a mother of 6 children, and my kids could have been Jessica Ridgway or Dylan Redwine, because these are the same perpetrators that tried relentlessly to take my kids from me. And because we homeschool, they don't walk to school, and they were saved. And because we're not divorced, there was no custody or visitation on the holidays. But other than that, lots of families are fair game right now.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely pass this on. Okay?
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Marsha. You have a great day.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye.